we'll crack on then. Good afternoon, everybody. New room. The room may be different, but the same rules apply, and we are being live broadcast for the public to listen to us. Item 1 is the minutes of the last meeting. I will presume you've all read those and accept them as read unless there's any points to make. More, thank you. Apologies for absence, Councillor Barnford.
Yes, Leader. I've got apologies from Councillor Neil Clark, who's on important district council business this afternoon, and I've got apologies from Councillor Richard Jackson, medical illness.
Thank you very much. The next item is declarations of interest. I will save Chris, Andre and Bruce having to declare an interest that they may be near at the time of applying for a blue badge. Are there any other are there any other apologies for declarations of interest from officers or councillors?
Very nice.
Thank you. We'll move swiftly on before you
I've got a retort.
Nottinghamshire plan, Councillor Lawton.
I'd just like to point out I've just had a really good week skiing in Slovenia.
Brought us down to earth.
The snow was excellent. And there weren't very many blue badges coming down the mountain.
Got one in the post.
So I am presenting the Nottinghamshire Annual Delivery Plan for 25-26. The Nottinghamshire Plan was approved in November 21 after a considerable amount of work with members and officers. Derek is here, who effectively helped write the plan itself. It has acted as the skeleton for all of the services across the whole of the county to be able to give them parameters from which to operate in. And I'm extremely proud of the staff at Nottinghamshire County Council over the last 4 years, bearing in mind this plan is for 10 years. So hopefully the next administration will just seamlessly take on board the plan and move forward. As it has worked extremely well over the last 4 years, and all those officers and staff that have been involved in the management of the plan. You've just got to have a look at the number of ups we are on targets on the papers that follow the appendix on this particular paper. So it makes me proud to be involved in it. I've been involved in it for 4 years, and it's been a real pleasure working with the officers concerned to be able to deliver for the services across the whole of Nottinghamshire. I mean, I'm going to pick out one area that has impacted quite considerably over the last few years, which is flooding. And it is something that this authority, we have upskilled our flooding department. We are the lead local flood authority, and the amount of work that's been going on with the officers across the whole of the county has been, in inverted commas, exemplary, really. They've been a trailblazer as far as the work that has gone on within our communities. I can assure you, having visited numerous offices, having worked for the Environment Agency for a number of years, that there is nothing worse than being flooded. It is devastating both for families and households across the whole of Nottinghamshire, and it continues to be indiscriminate in the way that it attacks many of our residents. And it has been incumbent on this authority to upskill and update our ability to be able to handle it. And for that, I'd like to pay real thanks to the team and also the senior management who've been involved in it. So without more ado, I will recommend the recommendation on page 11 and allow other cabinet members to be able to contribute towards the debate.
Thank you, Councillor Lawton. And yes, it is another plan that shows that we're getting on with delivering on the priorities of residents across all departments, which is really important for our residents. Are there any comments from cabinet members on the Nottinghamshire plan? Councillor Wheeler.
Yeah, thank you, Leader. Just to say again, really proud of the team, the work that the whole team's done, and especially Oxfordshire Care staff as well. So, in terms of the work we're doing, as that on the plan, I think the new mental health discharge service could be fantastic. In terms of, we all know the huge increase we've seen in referrals and the number of people who are now coming forward as suffering with mental health issues, which I think just also shows the fact that stigma is based into where it was many years ago. So it's important we have the right service there to support our people. We're really proud that as a council we're going to be doing that. Also talk about our day opportunity offer that we've obviously recently amended and improved and looked to change the way we're doing it to ensure that we are going out to the community, looking after our people rather than being focused on buildings. And a good part of that is our promoting independence workers. So myself and the leader actually went to go to see well, I looked after adults not far from here and went out with independence work and had a good chat about how the work they're doing, actually chatting to the people we're looking after to find out how we can. That was a really good example of what we're doing directly in the communities to help. So I mean, looking through the plan, it's just really good set of objectives across the whole council area and shows the fantastic job that the council is doing to support our residents. Thank you.
Thank you. And just on that visit we carried out together, which is great to see the community care team out supporting people living in their own community, because we all know that that's better for them and their care, and as well as their well-being, but their mental health as well. So it's really great that we continue to do that. So thank you for that. Councillor Girling.
Yeah, thanks, Leader. I think there's quite a few things on here on page 10, 8A to J, that comes to my cabinet position. In particular, the visitor economy. We launched our visitor economy strategy early on in our tenure, which was well received. We coordinated with a lot of the partners to make sure that our visitor economy strategy was sound and had a good response. And we reinforced our partnership with Visit Nottinghamshire as well, and we've been working really well with them. And rather than, like in the past, we've just given money towards their objectives, we've been pushing our objectives and agenda with them by giving them specific tasks to do with key areas where we want to see results, and that's been working really well. Obviously now we've got MCA, so that there's even more collaboration that can be done to make sure that we cover the whole of the area that's responsible for. In terms of G, obviously the biggest thing towards our net zero gain is going to be step fusion, and that's a really big game changer. And although it seems like it's a long time away, it's not. It will soon be here, and it's not just about that anyway. It's about all the other things that brings. So there'll be other net zero companies not associated with that, but with net zero, will want to come to Nottinghamshire because they'll want to be in that area and be part of the whole scene there. So it's really creating Nottinghamshire as the net zero capital of the country, really. And we're really pleased with that. And as you know, we've got the zone going down the Trent to sort of make sure that we maximise the benefit of step fusion. We've also got the delivery of the connectivity framework, making sure people working from home can get online and actually work from home or do the studying from home. So that's going really well as well. So I'm very proud of the work that's been done on that. And then to finish, really, the increasing opportunities through further education. Again, that's something now that we're starting to work with them on, but that's something that we've been driving in Nottinghamshire to make sure people can upskill or can change jobs and do something else. So I'm really proud of the work that my team's been doing on that, and that's got nothing to do with buildings. That's got nothing to do with anything else. That's all about trying to support people in their daily lives and what they're doing. So that's our contribution.
Thank you, Councillor Gooding. And people keep saying about STEP being jobs for the future. When we went to the last board meeting, they have already employed over 100 people, which is great, and it's happening now. And we continue to play a big part in it.
If I could add to that, I went to visit West Burton, and there was a third generation family member there. So Grandad had been there when it was open. The dad worked there. She's working there now, and her daughter, who's at school, is looking to work there. So it's it's a real family thing, and that's why I think that area is really supported what's going to happen there. They don't see it as like anything that's bad, because they've powered the country for many years, and I think they're quite proud of that.
No, it's fantastic. It really is good, and it's happening right now, like you said. Which is great. Councillor Taylor.
Thank you. I'm going to start, if I may, not with my portfolio, but picking up on Councillor Gurling's comments, because in terms of step fusion and the opportunities that that site of West Burton is bringing, it's not in my divisional area, but it is on the border. It is literally on the border, and the villages that job opportunities will support, the schools and the students that those opportunities will support, are very firmly in my area. So, you know, it's thank you to everybody for saying when you were involved as leader, what you're carrying forward now, Sam and Adrian, and what Keith's team have done to actually bring that to bear is hugely significant for the residents that I represent. We'll get around tomorrow. So again, interesting hearing Keith and Jonathan both referenced it's not about buildings in the name. It isn't, it's services. You know, buildings come and go. Service delivery is absolutely paramount to what we're doing. And you've seen, and I've spoken about it at previous meetings, including the most recent council, the two significant strands for us have been about reshaping early help intervention, having a single front door. So the work that's going on about the MASH, having needs-led services instead of threshold-led services. And then all of the work around that goes into the family hub networks and the development of those. So by the end of this month, we will have opened all of our family hub networks, formally launched them. They're all open, they're all working. This is about crossing that line and saying we're now formally launched and we're celebrating all of them. That's 18 of them, family hub networks across all 7 of the districts and boroughs. Sadly, I'm missing the launch in Roxton today. Councillor Anderson is fronting that for me because I'm at this meeting. Next week, we've got Ollerton, and I'll get this right, Ollerton and Booton. Thank you. Not Orton, as I pronounce it. Mansfield West is next week, and the final one is Sherwood on the 26th of March. So by the 26th of March, they'll all be live and launched. It's been absolutely fantastic going into those spaces and seeing not only is the work really mature and established already because of what we were already doing, the partnerships are strong, they are rich, but there is clear evidence that there's commonality, but there's also difference because our districts and our places are different. So what might be a voluntary sector organisation that's helping in Portland isn't the same as the people that are needed to offer help in Broxtowe. So that richness, but that real sense of place, and that's been significant, I think, to our approach to the transformative work and to developing the family hub networks and support systems. On the question of the MASH, I mean, the last thing for us to get over the line, and we can't wait, is the significance of moving the MASH teams into the new building at Oak House cannot be understated. You know, we absolutely can't. The significance of moving from where they are now into facilities that will allow them to work in different structures, literally occupying space within a building in a way that allows them to connect with partners, police and health. And so, you know, I know it's nearly there, but they are so much looking forward to that. And the sooner it happens, the better. So that's what we would do to Chairman. And as far as the plan goes, Councillor, I hope you're supporting me.
Thank you. I think we've got colleagues out talking to members of staff who work in the MASH in the current site now, and they're speaking to them about the impact moving to Oak House will have on them. It will save the council about £500,000 on rent for one, but actually it's not about that. It's about moving the services, like you said, closer to where the demand is and bringing all the partners together. And I think that will bring significant improvements to families, but also match that change with the family hub rollout as well. This plan that you've delivered, Councillor Taylor, with colleagues really has improved the lives of families, so we can be really proud.
And I am remiss, Leader, I should have actually thanked the officer corps because I haven't delivered it.
Thank you very much. Councillor Bradley.
Thanks, Sam. And a big one on that final point there, I think we set out at the start of this administration a 10-year plan. It won't be a surprise, therefore, that the forward-looking plan continues to build on all the things we've been doing over the last few years, particularly that community-based model that Tracy's talked about in terms of family hubs, bringing services together and offering more. We've got really strong foundations of the children's centres and things that have been there previously, but I think as you extend that model out and as you look at the impact on wider families and older children and everything else, actually there's more and more impact that we can have through those services. It's fantastic to go to the one in Mansfield Woodhouse yesterday, the launch, and see actually, even though it's very early days, everyone's incredibly positive, everybody knows each other and works, is able to pop there and across the corridor to go and find that person they want to engage with or signpost to, which is new in many cases and has been really, really positive. So I think it will be really beneficial and opportunities to continue to extend that as we kind of tie the staffing structures and things in behind that. And as we go through local government organisations, and there are a wider range of services, including things like, I was talking yesterday about leisure centres, for example, and what health and wellbeing opportunities there are in that space to tie into the wider picture. So loads to look forward to. From a SEND and education perspective, obviously really significant focus to the extent that we created this position of cabinet member of our SEND a few years ago. That improvement work has been ongoing, and I think from a kind of leadership perspective, then Christine and the improvement board and all the partners involved in that are really positive about the progress that's been made, and that needs to continue in the next year to kind of transition into not an improvement board anymore, but a normal practice monitoring and delivery board. And we'll work through that. We're hoping that government will get on with it and come and re-inspect us, and we can demonstrate that improvement and how we now have a much clearer understanding and much firmer plan as to how we develop that over the coming years, and that follows through to families. So that's really positive. And on the back of that, at the same time, huge investment, 50% increase so far, set to continue, huge expansion of SEND places, the Orchard School, rebuilt Yeoman Park, and obviously Ravensdale, that colleagues have been to visit in recent weeks, is nearly there. And in November, that will be done and open as well, which, as Andre always says, I think is one of the biggest capital investments in Mansfield probably ever. But really, really significant in terms of, as you said, putting services where they need it and helping us to unpick the kind of transport nests as well, or those services that all over the county, shipping people around all over the place. So a really big opportunity. And finally, on a kind of education front, I think this year, I say these bold statements thinking they're probably about there, so don't hold it against me if it's not. But again, I think it's probably amongst, if not the biggest investment we've had in terms of school places, new schools, and that expansion as well, building on what was certainly a kind of record previous administration over the 4 years before. So over the course of this 8-year period, really, really significant investment in creating the places for kids, particularly in Rushcliffe, where the need is greatest across the whole county. And that's set to continue. So there's another 87 million quid from memory over the next year or two with further expansion and further to develop that. So there's absolutely tons going on. Really, really positive record, I think, in this space in particular, in children's and obviously in schools, building perspective in that kind of place. And more in here to build on, including, I know we'll get that into the really local elements of it. Obviously changed the nature of things like our proposals for school pick-up and drop-off areas and others that are really important to families and parents around primary schools and how we develop those in the kind of forward plan.
No, thank you for that, Ben. And yeah, you and Councillor Taylor spoke about ambition to a lot of length there. And I think on SEND places, as this administration, I think we delivered over 100 extra so far. We want to on target to the 490 by the end of 2026, which will deliver ambition too. And that's why we keep seeing in the plan that Councillor Lawton puts forward, because it's important for us. So thank you for everyone on their work on that. Councillor Cox.
Thank you, Ian. I just really want to start off on a point that the Deputy Leader made around when this plan was first put together back in 2021 at the beginning of this administration. I was one of those members that took part in establishing it. So to sit here today as a cabinet, to see the strong track record of performance and successes, that's not to say that it's still placing the journey to carry on. It's been articulated this is a 10-year plan, but certainly sat here, tickets we've carried on with the community health transition, health is more sat more front and centre at the council, which only means really one thing, and that is better outcomes for those that we serve. It would be remiss of me not to mention libraries. So we have made a strong commitment there, and we've done a number of visits together across Nottinghamshire, not just to see the day-to-day service, but really the value that they have within the communities that they are cited in, but equally not getting mobile provision. Also, that additionality that Inspire give to us as well around skills, social interaction, and a few years ago we were at the centre of Mansfield to see how music is really benefiting young people, and certainly performance figures, the percentage of 16 to 17-year-olds not in education, employment training, it was once again down. So there's still more work to do. The other two items that I'd really like to pull out, I'm not going to go into specifics, you'll probably understand why when I address it, but it's the two big procurement exercises that are running through my portfolio. Firstly, the Healthy Passes programme, of course, we were very well grounded in the background detail and sort of challenge with sort of the external headlines around the current provider, but again, strong performance in the report for us today, and I'm sure to all the way through, and also for where Healthy Families work was with the cross-party review and scrutiny function to address some of those concerns. I think a couple of years ago, where some members across the council didn't feel that the scrutiny process was working. Actually, I thought that piece of work was excellent. So we'll obviously carry on with the exercise as we speak. The second one, as the plan articulates, that we made a firm commitment to establish a joint venture for our catering facilities management service. Well, again, we're all very grounded in the challenge of that from a financial point of view, but certainly from my point of view, it wasn't necessarily acceptable for this council to do what many other councils are doing at present, pulling down steel shutters. Like I say, there's a little bit more work to do to get that one over the line, but certainly to provide this council with the financial security, that joint venture, but nevertheless also doing that without compromising the quality of product or service to schools, to community groups and others that trade with us. So people within that, when you look at the headcount number of staff colleagues employed in that contract, I think that gives also a strong commitment from this administration, from this council, to those moving forward as well. Thank you.
Thank you, Scott. Just from the chair, really, just to thank you and Mark Walker and colleagues in that department team who've worked really hard on that joint venture piece on catering and facilities management. Not only does it reduce the council subsidy, it also retains the service, which is really important, and the quality of provision. And we're nearly there. So thank you to all those involved in that, which helps the plan as well, which is really important. Councillor Lawton, sum up that then.
Thank you very much. Thank you everybody and every cabinet member for their input. Sat next to me is my Director for Public Service Reform. I'm sort of like, I used to be transformation and change. I much prefer transformation and change. And the reason why I mentioned it is because I think this is my 5th term now, and there's more change gone on in this last 4 years than I've ever known as a councillor. And the change is, the main change is one of being of early intervention. That is the key to the provision of our 2 main teeth arms, that being adults and young people. They are the driver of our budgets, and the early intervention and transformation and change within them is essential for us to be able to provide a good service across Nottinghamshire. So really, mine is a thank you really to everybody that's been involved in that change. It hasn't been easy. It has been very difficult, to be quite honest with you. Under the previous leader and the leader we have now, that they have been at the forefront of that change, ensuring that they drive the authority in a direction which is healthy and is there and is fit for purpose. And I look forward to seeing that change. If I'm back in May, I look forward to seeing it it grow, evolve over the period, over the coming years, because we have put in place the building blocks necessary for this authority to be able to thrive. So thank you very much, everybody, and both recommendations.
Thank you very much, everybody. Recommendations are on page 11. Can we take those as carried? Thank you very much. Item 5 then is on the Adult Social Care Support Market Annual Uplifts, financial year 25-26. Councillor Wheeler, please.
Yeah, thank you. So I'm here today to ask Cabinet to approve a £28.2 million uplift in the fees we pay for adult social care. In Nottinghamshire, we are lucky to have some fantastic external care providers who are delivering care to thousands of adults across our county. This uplift will help them continue to do this great work. As is set out in the report under points 3, 4 and 5, this counts as a legal duty under the Care Act 2014, and by applying this uplift, we are not only fulfilling this, but demonstrating our commitment to supporting our providers who have been hit hard by the Chancellor's budget last year. Combination of the national living wage increase, national insurance contributions and pension contribution increases mean that some of our providers have seen increasing costs by 10%. To me, it's disgraceful that the government is not proposing to protect providers from this tax hike they brought in. With social care reforms pushing to long grass and social care being treated like a second-class service by the government, we're being left to carry the can and do everything we can to protect the adults in our care. I am pleased to see the House of Lords, however, has voted to exempt social care providers from the increases, and I call on all our MPs to do the right thing and force the government to do what is right. And to that end, I should be writing to all Nottinghamshire MPs, asking them to support us in that, and offering to brief them if they so wish. Our team have worked hard with our providers to inform them of our decisions making on the fee uplift, and we are here to work with them to ensure they remain viable and able to deliver the very best service. So I'd like to thank our officer team for the work they've done, led by Katie and Paul especially, and all our providers and their staff for the excellent work they continue to do for us. And I formally move the recommendations.
Thank you, Councillor Wheeler. I should quickly say, obviously, care providers across the county do an excellent job for our residents, and we're very grateful for them. They are, as you have said, facing financial pressures, though, like we all are, caused by the government, the national insurance increase, etc. And hopefully our uplift of £28.2 million will help them carry on their great work. And I think you're right, and I will join you in writing to the MPs to back the Lord's suggestion that they should be exempt from those national insurance increases, which is crippling them in the market. So we're doing all we can, as you say, and this £28.2 million should support them to continue. So any other comments on that before we go to the vote? All right, thank you. We will take the recommendations as on page 45 for that. All those in favour? Thank you very much. That's carried. The movers of the next reports aren't here for other reasons. So items, I will move both of them and then ask other people to comment to introduce them. So item 6 is the response to the recommendations from the scrutiny review of blue badges. And I will move the recommendations on page 48. Could I ask Councillor Elliott, as the chairman of that review, to comment on the report before we respond?
Yeah, of course, yeah. Thank you, Sam. First of all, I'd like to start by thanking Marie Rowney, Louise Vance Harwood and Michelle Thorpe and their team for this amazing report. It's been the most well-attended review that we've done so far, because I think all councillors here and all councillors that we know will agree that it's one of the most difficult applications you have to fill out, and you get residents come to you. Residents that do come to you for help, they're in a position where they can't fill out something electronically. They need your assistance. It's been, and as you can see, we've got 10 recommendations here. So if I can draw your attention to a few of those recommendations, recommendation number 5, which is the degenerative illness. So we've got residents that are applying for a blue badge to get a blue badge accepted, and then after a few years they have to reapply for their blue badge. They've got a degenerative illness. It's not going to get. So we're trying to simplify their lives, and this is what we need to do as council, isn't it? Look after our residents. recommendation 9. It's another case where Nottinghamshire County Council under this administration is a victim of its own success. We're that good at it. We could outroll it. We could actually make money out of this and do it with our neighbouring councils with MCA. So we'll be doing that hopefully. Agreement. I will be writing along with the MPs to highlight the benefits of a simplified online application process, and hopefully the Department for Transport and the relevant government ministers will accept our findings. That's basically it. It's basically the common sense recommendations. It's anything that improves the application process, limits this council's exposure to abuse it and exploit it, we should support. That's our findings. So, but I would like to thank as well all the other councillors that took part in the review. Jim's here today. It was yeah, it was good, wasn't it?
It was
very positive. Yeah, one of the things that we had a good discussion about is you could almost compare it to a passport application where you get updates. Get email updates or text updates. So your application has been received. Your application is at this process, and we asked our officers if they could do that, and they said, "I believe we can." So it stops people at home thinking you're getting anxiety. I've been turned down. I'm not going to get my blue badge. You know where you are. You're not being forgotten. So that's the most important thing. It's communication with our residents. So that was one of the recommendations. Thank you. Commend it to Cabinet. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Councillor Elliott, and thank you to the committee for their work. To respond to it on behalf of Cabinet, Councillor Camilleri is the
Thank you very much.
Cabinet member.
And after the remark about the blue badge earlier, I'll be very careful. This report presents the findings and recommendations from the Overview Committee's review of the delivery of the Blue Badge Scheme in Nottinghamshire. Blue Badge Scheme is a vital service that supports individuals with severe mobility issues, both visible and hidden, by enabling them to park close to their destinations. Recognising the importance of this scheme, we carried out this review to ensure that the application process is as user-friendly and accessible as possible, especially since the transition to an online-only application system. Our review process was comprehensive, involving detailed discussion with key stakeholders, including the Commission service team. We examined the current application procedures and assessed the challenges faced by residents. And I can understand those challenges being older myself. It's quite complicated. And explored potential further improvements to streamline the process and enhance the customer service. The report outlines several recommendations aimed at further improving the Blue Badge application experience for all residents. These include maintaining the pilot activity that supports vulnerable badge holders, exploring the benefits of automated communication updates, and enhancing engagement with community groups to assist residents who may struggle with the online application process. I would like to extend my thanks to all the members of the review group and the officers, Maria Rowney, Michelle Thorpe and Louise Blunt-Harwood, who contributed to this review. The commitment and the expertise of these officers in delivering the best possible service to the residents and who are constantly striving to deliver further improvements was clear throughout the review process. And I would like to thank them for their work and for supporting the review. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Councillor Camilleri. And yes, I think there's 10 recommendations, Councillor Elliott, and Cabinet are acceptable in 10. So thank you for that.
Thank you.
I will bring in Councillor Barnhart.
Yeah, thank you, Leader. So I was a member of a cross-party working group looking at members' induction training, the requirements of members' induction training. And I think the importance of getting blue badge applications right and members being properly equipped to be able to assist residents with their applications became very apparent to us. In fact, we've now included it in the new member induction pack that will take effect after the elections in May this year. Within the first week of members becoming members, whether they be new members or they be reappointed members, they will receive training in how to be able to assist residents with their applications for blue badges. The report that's before us today, I think, is an excellent report, and I thank the team that produced it of members, again, across party working group, which shows that scrutiny in this authority does work when properly applied, and I think we are getting better at it. This report is an excellent example of that. But more importantly, to thank the customer service centre team, because at the end of the day, a lot of the recommendations that have come out of this review are endorsing work that is already being done by the team. Effectively, work that's already been identified as requirements or already being piloted by our own officers. And the review recognises that and endorses its continuation and enhancement in some areas. So it's an excellent report. I thank everybody who's been involved in it. And I think there isn't a single one of the 66 elected members of this council who at some point within their 4-year term of office will not receive a query request, cry for assistance from a member of the public. The form is complicated, not because we as an authority make it complicated, but because if you fit into the second part of the criteria for being awarded a blue badge, it's a statutory requirement that there are a number of complicated questions to answer. So anything we can do to assist our residents, anything we can do to assist the customer services centre in making their job easier, and anything that we can do to assist the elected members in being able to carry out their function in assisting residents, has got to be a good thing. So thank you, Councillor Ali.
Thank you. Thank you, Councillor Barnfather, for that. The recommendations are on page 48. Are we all in favour of accepting all those recommendations? Thank you very much. Item 7 is the response to the scrutiny review on flooding and the council's response and resilience. Again, the respondent or the cabinet member accepting these isn't at the meeting, so I will move the recommendations as on page 72. But I'd like to introduce Councillor Adams to the cabinet meeting as the chair of the review to update cabinet on the findings.
Thank you, Leader. And yes, it was a significant and incredibly important piece of work that we took in our team, and we put a lot of work into it. We had regular members that attended all of the sessions to ensure that we got to the crux of the actual review itself. So, as you're all aware, we had an awful period of time culminating in Storm Babette, which caused a lot of damage to properties across Nottinghamshire. The storm itself affected over 1,200 properties across Nottinghamshire and affected, like I said, communities the length and breadth. The review looked at our preparedness, how well we were ready for it, how we reacted to it, and also how we can better prevent such problems happening in the future. We involved multiple stakeholders, including Severn Trent, the Environment Agency, but also I always want to give a special mention to our own team that we have at Nottinghamshire County Council. If you've ever had a flooding problem in your area, your division, this is a 7-person strong team, but when these things kick off, they are absolutely all over it. They work some incredible hours to achieve that, hours that take them sometimes well into the night. And that's also outside of that team as well. Our highways teams also work to ensure that roads are closed at the right times, and also, of course, supplements that out there cleaning the gullies to ensure that when these things do happen, that water can escape at pace. So we have a dedicated team here, and we should be incredibly proud of the work. I also know they are incredibly proud of the work they do as well, and so they should be. As I said, the report outlines the key findings within that. Some of the innovative flood management solutions we are using now as we move into the future, things like sustainable drainage, which to all intents and purposes, in some cases can just look like a flower bed, but that flower bed seeks to hold floodwater off streets in key times. The biggest thing, if you like, for me that came from this was trying to ensure that we had a central point of communication for residents to look at. If you've been to the VIA office, you will be aware of a place called the Hub, And for me and the committees we were looking at, the idea that we could get the hub to be a visual web page, if you like, a front end which could contain all the data that anybody needed to review during such a difficult time would be there and would be available, and also the contacts that you could utilise during that as well to ensure that you got your issue dealt with. Of course, there's a lot of thanks towards the people that actually attended the group. They did a great job. But as the lead flood authority, it's absolutely clear that we are living up to our requirement to maintain the Flood and Water Management Act of 2010, and we are taking our responsibilities incredibly seriously. So, yeah, really just from that, as I said, there's lots of detail in that report. But we put a lot of work into it. The team that actually go out and do the work on the days when we have these problems are phenomenal. Also our services in terms of the police and enforcing road closures, which is also a nightmare, big problem we have. They were out. We've seek to add some more weight to that and get them to go out and try and do a bit more enforcement when these problems happen as well. So that's the crux of it. Like I say, it was a very positive review for some very difficult things. And let's be honest. Flooding is one of the, and I know council, flooding is one of the most awful things that can happen to anybody. And one of the worst things that I've heard during the time I was involved in it is how, when the water's in your house, the things you shift upstairs are the photos, the family photos, because it's weird that flood water actually damages those and makes those go mouldy. So it's the thing, if you're ever in a flood situation, get those memories out of the ground floor and get them away from the flood water, because those are the things that we all care about. Insurance can replace a television and a hi-fi or whatever. Hi-fi, how old do I sound? Television, but those memories are the important things that we need to hang on to. So get them upstairs if you're ever in a flood situation. Thank you, Peter. That was okay.
Thank you, Councillor Adams, and thank you again to all the members who was part of the review. As you say, flooding is devastating when it happens, and this council plays an important and vital role to help mitigate that, and we will continue to do so. Cabinet welcomes recommendations from your committee, Councillor Adams, and we accept all 13 of those recommendations to build on our current flood risk management, which is it involves putting natural flood management schemes, and we're doing stuff in Woodborough, Latley, Burton Joyce, Cost, for example. Also building on the 250 flood resilience schemes that we are putting into residents' houses. And the community flood teams, we've got about 40 of them, and we will build on those as well. That's what we're already doing. As a result of your recommendations, we're going to strengthen our response and we're going to increase the flood wardens, work closer with parish councils, which you've recommended, and work with borough and districts to get rid of the debris off the streets. And there's lots of other stuff as part of the recommendations you've put forward that we will carry out. So thank you for that. Any comments on that, Councillor Lawton?
Yeah, I just one comment really. I think it's important to recognise the work that is being done by our partners and the work that our flood team does with our partners to ensure it protects our communities. Without the Environment Agency FJA funding, Southall, take for example, would not have been delivered. But without our contribution from this council, it would not have been delivered. Without the contribution from Nottinghamshire District Council, it would not have been delivered, and the same goes for Southall Town Council. It is a partnership, a delivery of service, allowed at the present point in time, talking 32 million to protect that community. That has been driven by our officers as well as the Environment Agency officers. And so it is a really important part of delivery of flood protection. You know, for example, I just had Ross Marshall, who's one of their officers, on the phone this morning, talking about the protection of those residents in Valley Road in Bilsthorpe, take for example, which is a partnership, yet again, that is going to deliver protection for those communities. So I think I just really bring that in, and that was part and parcel of the scrutiny. It's an excellent piece of work, I have to say, and I will be supporting it.
Thank you, Councillor Lawton, and I'll not only do our teams go out and do lots of good stuff, but they also work with agencies to bring money in for schemes that we're delivering in places like Loudon, and we'll continue to do that to help the community as well. Any further comments on that? Marvellous. We'll go to the vote on recommendations on page 72. All those in favour of accepting the response? Thank you very much. That's carried. Just before we close the meeting, I think we should take a moment to reflect, quite sadly, that this is the last cabinet meeting of Councillor Chris Barnfather and Councillor Ben Bradley, who are both not seeking re-election at the election in May. Councillor Barnfather, I think you've been on this council longer than I've probably been alive. Close to, and you served blue badge. Two pages of comments. Just make blue badge application easy for you. No, you've served, you said, very well, and I think you've served in senior positions on this council as planning committee chairman and then chief whip, and you have ensured that all our business over the past 4 years has gone through smoothly. So thank you for doing that, and you will be missed by the leadership and this cabinet and the council and your residents for absolutely sure. Councillor Bradley, former leader who's probably responsible for most of the Nottingham plan that we have just spent at this meeting talking about, and now cabinet member for education. So thank you for all you've done as well for the people of Nottinghamshire. You will be missed too. And Reg, I think it's your last one as a deputy cabinet member as well, and former deputy leader. So thank you.
He was on when the Romans took over.
So thank you for everything you've done.
I was mention him at the start.
I was doing. No, he didn't just come in. I'm just an afterthought.
I saw
a long-serving councillor is an afterthought.
When have you ever been an afterthought?
And also now we're on deputy cabinet members. Councillor Golden Wheeler as well. This will be your last cabinet. So thank you for all you've done for the council and your residents, and Councillor Adair. So thank you very much. Thank you, colleagues. Meeting out.
Never think I can tell the story. 4 pages.